Okay, hi everybody. I assume you can hear me, see me, and see the slides. Am I correct?
Yes.
And so I actually did this 2 years ago. I was surprised to see. I did not do it last year for obvious reasons. But so I guess January is a good time to just share kind of what's going on, which is what today is about, share kind of what's going on with our program. We actually have several new people, so I thought it would be worthwhile to just talk a little bit about our history. And this picture is from a holiday party in the end of 2019. So obviously that's when we were in our kind of heyday and lots was going on. There's some very notable people in this picture. So not just me, but next to me is Diane Heisen. So some of you know her. She's actually the dean here of the SSIS, Social Science and Independent Studies. And she actually is a huge reason why we exist, because she's the one who greased lots of wheels and basically procured a space in this building back in 2013 by talking to Fred Baldini, who was the dean at that time of the other college, HHS. We'll talk more about that in a second. So she's a good friend of mine. She came to this country with Dr. Capagoda as a dietitian from Canada, then went on to get her schooling, got her degree in nutrition, and was the chair of the nutrition department here, and now is a dean. So she's an important person, and she's very supportive of us and what we do. She likes to come in here, doesn't get to very often. She's obviously a busy person, but we're very grateful to her for helping us exist. Okay. Also in this picture are Dr. Buka Putnam and Dr. Lopez, two cardiologists from UC Davis who are very proactive, very prevention oriented, and a big part of our program. Dr. Buka Putnam took over for Dr. Capagoda as our medical director, so she's an important person in our lives. And she really values you guys and likes to come over here and does stuff. She was here just last week, right? She'll be here once a month, hopefully. Dr. Lopez will be here tomorrow. He likes to come once a month as well. So that's, those key players are kind of important. This next picture is included here because this is a picture from our first year here, so probably from 2013, so like 9 years ago. And this was how we started with the core people. All these people here are people that had been in the UC Davis maintenance program, and they came over here when Dr. Capagoda came to get this program started. And Richard does really well with medical procedures on inert objects, so we're grateful for his help there. You see Richard here listening to the skeleton's chest. You remember that, Richard? Yeah. Yeah. And actually, so Marty was here today. Marty was back for the first time. Jane and Richard are here. John is here on Zoom. Lynn was here today. Bobby and Willie don't want to come out in the world anymore. They're safe in Dixon. Bob was kind of here today, and Jim's not coming too much anymore. But Dr. Lopez is the one who, when I showed this picture 2 years ago, made the comment, and I'll share this, that this is a good testament to this program, because poor Jim Livingston is the only individual in this picture who's no longer here. So all these other people are still basically alive and kicking. So that's good 10 years later, nice survival data that 90% of you are still here after 10 years. That's good data. So that means you're doing something right. If almost 2013, actually, it's only 9 years, but Richard looks exactly that. Richard's wearing the same shirt even. Look at that. Anyway, so that's just sort of our history. And for those of you that don't know who Dr. Capagoda was, I don't know, I get this little picture off my screen, but oops. Anyway, Dr. Capagoda was a cardiologist at UC Davis. There's all this stuff's on the bulletin board over there by the other side of the sink. And he was very proactive. He's, again, the reason that we're here is because he was believed in this whole lifestyle stuff. And if you go on our website, you can see some videos of him talking about the value of taking care of yourself and those kinds of things. So he's had some great visions. And I'm here, Mary's here, all the other people that from UC Davis are all here because of basically an allegiance to him and an interest in helping him carry through his dream and his concept of how well this program worked in the community setting. And it's turned out super, super well. And I will share when we started, it was because he had money and we were able to incorporate with the help of this other man, Gerald Thomas, who was a complete hoot and a very, very funny guy, but also a good attorney. So he's the one to help us create this nonprofit structure, which basically is an entity that has a bank account. And that's what basically has supplied this room with stuff, with the equipment and with materials, etc. And so we were going really well when we first started back in 2013 in this pilot mode. And then Dr. Capagoda got sick and he passed away. So that was kind of a hard time. That was probably be about the end of 2014. And I personally grappled a lot and was wondering, okay, well, now what am I supposed to do? Because I had started this program kind of with the concept of helping him and creating this legacy for him. And then he up and died on me. So then I was like, oh, well, so what am I supposed to do? And Sharon Myers you'll see her, she's a nurse that's part of us. And she's the one who helped me realize that, yes, this is Dr. Capagoda's legacy, but it's mine too. And it's all of ours. So we're definitely committed to making it be a lasting thing, which is kind of what today's chat is all about, is how you guys can all help it continue to be a lasting thing. And I think it has a super nice potential for that. But that's how it all started, was because Dr. K had some money and some nice visions. And the money, as I said, created this nonprofit corporation, which has a horrible name. It's the Foundation for Health Through Knowledge and Action.
Terrible.
Which is, yeah, it's a terrible name, but it does
the trick.
He picked it. And it does describe the concept, how you get to a better place because of things you know, and the way you act upon the things you know, and you're going to act upon the things you know if you know them better. It's a nice concept, but way too long. Anyway, so this foundation does have a board. So Dr. Buka Putnam is now the president of the board. Since I like to play with the money, I'm the treasurer. And then Sharon and Carrie are two nurses from UC Davis that, again, are part of our history, and they're a big part of this. And then the other people on the board are basically you guys. John and Lynn are both part of our board. Bobby and Willie from Dixon are part of it as well. Terry Linebeck stepped up and helps us with the tax stuff. At any rate, so anyone can be on the board if they're so inclined. I'm just sharing that. And we don't do a whole lot as a board, but we meet once or twice a year. And this foundation basically is all funded by donations. We typically have a fundraiser once a year. The last one we had was 2019, which is where the shirt I'm wearing comes from. And we're sort of due for one of those because we haven't had one in a while, and it's not like we're out of money, but it's nice to have a nice balance in our bank account, which we don't. And I am not soliciting money by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just letting you know that if you're throwing money around, that's a place you could throw it. And our website does kind of mention that, and there's information over there on the bulletin board as well. And the other aspects of the funding are, weird echo going on all of a sudden there, Tim. Okay. So the program is, since it's here and supported by campus, that's why it's free to the participants. This is the first year that you've actually had to pay for the parking. So hopefully that's not a huge burden to people, and we'll help you with that if it is. But we've got a nice deal with the parking services similar to the Renaissance Society. So paying $40 a year to pay for parking and the rest of it's free, I think is probably a reasonable deal. But it is totally staffed by volunteers. But we are blessed because the university basically, and this is where Diane Heisen comes in. 9 years ago, she went to the dean and said, you have that empty building over there. Well, couldn't we just kind of see how it goes? And he was just basically placating her because he didn't think anything would ever come of it. So he said, oh yeah, sure, go ahead. So we moved in down on the second floor, and we did quite well, and we established that we could indeed, you know, operate, and we grew from there. And so now not only does the university give us the space, they actually had to pay 10,000 grand to update the sprinkler so we could move up here. They pay me a little bit of money as a part-time faculty, and now we're lucky, blessed to have Rob Mitchell, who comes from some money that HHS is chipping in to offset his course load, or however they determine it. This is the second semester now. We actually have a paid student assistant, and that's I guess a COVID boon, because there's this COVID money, and the college decided they could help students out by employing stuff. So Mary Lou is our paid student assistant this semester. And what that position basically is to help us keep the webpage up to date, which is an ongoing process Mary Lou is discovering. And again, like I said, the main thing that supports us is this nonprofit, the Foundation for Health. Just to explain the Sac State structure. Okay, so Sac State is this big entity, and there's lots of colleges, or I think they're called colleges. And the two of them that pertain to us are HHS and SSIS. So SSIS is Social Studies and Social Sciences and Independent Studies, which I said Diane Heisen is the dean of. And under SSIS are departments of nutrition, psychology, and gerontology. Those are the three course academic places where students are coming over from here that are part of SSIS. And then HHS is Health and Human Services. And that actually is, this is Folsom Hall is a building, is an HHS building. So everything in this building is basically what HHS supports. And the physical therapy school, the nursing school are on the first floor, and they were the first things that kind of moved into this building when HHS took it over a long time ago, I'm sure that was. And again, that was a big part of Dr. Baldini. I had a nice vision for this building and what his college could do. And it's turned out kind of well. And then the other big school that's here is now on the second floor. Used to be speech pathology, but I don't even know what their name really is, but it's communications disorders, I think, is part of it. And that's the one part of HHS in this building that we actually don't really have a connection with, although I think that's going to change, because Elsa gave me a great idea. And so the speech pathology is on the second floor, but they've actually taken over the transportation thing on the first floor and have a big audiology lab. And so you've probably figured out, some of you have done stuff with PT, that these training programs like to have people to test. So there's, I'm going to work on a connection to get, basically, you guys have the option of going down and get your hearing tested with the audiology lab in this building. So I think that will be kind of a nice connection, and it's not developed yet. And that was Elsa's idea, who's always got great ideas, which is, again, a big part of this program. So you guys are the drivers. You guys all have great ideas, and they come into place. Interestingly enough, kinesiology is a big part of HHS as well. And in my mind, because that was where I come from, I'm an exercise physiologist, there should be a lot of kinesiology people in here. There's a nice, Mary Lou is a kinesiology major. And over the whole time we've been here, we've actually had very few kinesiology majors. And I think that's more of a political, personal thing to do with the faculty in kinesiology. I really don't know. And that's part of being part of the big structure. So some stuff you don't question. And if we're here, we'd love to have you guys. And every once in a while they come over, but it's not as well developed as the other departments that are going on, which is just surprising, depending on considering what we do and who we are and how exercise is such a huge part of what we're doing. You think kinesiology students would be clamoring to get in here, but they're not. But oh well. Nutrition, we have a lot of nutrition students, we have a lot of psychology students, and we have a lot of gerontology students. So the things that go on, most of you know about this. So we do a lot of individual exercise, and thanks goodness for Mary, because we wouldn't be doing that without her. And Mean Mary, she runs a tight ship over there, but we're blessed to have her. And that's, again, place. Everyone kind of gets to do their own thing. There's lots of guidance, and we hopefully are helping you keep track of how you're doing. So the vital sign monitoring actually is helpful to you as well as to us, and it's a good training ground for the students as well. When we moved into this big space, we were able to basically expand our group offerings a lot. I really love our mat area over there. And now with the hybrid world, and so we can do it both in the room and on Zoom at the same time. I think that's going reasonably well. And thank goodness to David, because he does the Tai Chi for us, which I think is a really nice adjunct to our program. He would love to have more people doing that. And Linda Larson, she comes over twice a month and does some mindfulness sessions for us. Those are great. Educational stuff, that's getting pretty well developed. And then before the pivot, we were doing a lot more food stuff than we currently are. That's hopefully will come back as time develops. And then the outcome assessments, those are things you're asked for all the time. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And then a big part of what we do is just you as clients interacting with students. That's important. And as I said, that we did benefit from this world right now because of this forcement into the virtual world. And so I'm not grateful for it happening, but I'm grateful that we were able to take advantage of it and do some stuff that was kind of good to get done, which we wouldn't have done otherwise, I don't think, if we hadn't been forced to. This is just a little picture showing how our enrollment went. When we first started in 2014, we had like 12 people, and then the first year it kind of doubled. And then, like I said, this is the year 2014-15 is when Dr. Capagoda passed away. So then we just sort of held it together for a while. And then we started to grow more. And I have another picture of that, which is this one. So we started with that first cohort. And then by 2014, we expanded. And then Dr. Putman took over and our numbers got bigger. And then for some reason, it took about 3 years to connect with the Renaissance Society. And once the Renaissance Society sort of got wind of us, then our referrals or our enrollment went up a lot. And then once the Renaissance people, who I guess are kind of neighbors here, then they started recruiting all their other neighbors. So we have a big collection of people from the neighborhoods around here. College Greens is down Folsom Boulevard, Campus Commons. There's a huge cohort of people that come over here from Campus Commons, which makes sense because it's close. And then still this trickled down, so that the end result by 2020, our roster had, was pretty big, and there were over 100 people when we had to leave that were coming kind of regularly. So we had 103 people attending back in March of 2020. And I'm here sitting thinking, boy, things are going really, really well. Can this last? And then all of a sudden we had to leave. So I guess it couldn't last. Anyway, so that was 2 years ago now, amazingly enough. And I think this is kind of interesting. This is not updated for after 2019, but when we started, as I said, we came over from UC Davis with people had been in the cardiac rehab program. So we had a lot of 87% of the people here basically had been in cardiac rehab. So they had appropriate diagnoses for having been in cardiac rehab. As we expanded and more people came in, that kind of switched, so that by the time we've, got up to over 100 people, the majority of you have not had heart attacks. You're just mindful people that have risk factors. You don't want to have a heart attack. So that's actually a good way to have it. If you can be prevention oriented and take care of yourselves and keep from having a cardiac rehab diagnosis, that certainly is to your benefit. So it's just interesting how that has kind of flipped. And so this program is definitely a community thing. It's open to people that want to participate and take care of themselves. And it's, I every once in a while people will say, well, I can't come over there. I don't have the right diagnosis. You don't have to have a diagnosis to come in here. You just have to want to do it. So this is my picture of kind of what happened with the pivot, and it's very crude because I'm not a PowerPoint whiz. But so the enrollment was going good. All of a sudden, zap, we had to leave. So we were down to 100 people that were coming. And now during the height of the pandemic, about 45 of people were coming over to Zoom. And now that we're back in person, there's about 20 of you, 30 of you that are coming in to participate here. So that means there's about 30 people out there that I don't know what happened to you. Them. It's not you guys because you're here. So that will be one of the missions for this semester, is to work on the people that basically are in this lost to follow-up category, that don't do Zoom. They might have email, but they don't ever respond to it, so they probably aren't really looking at them. And you've probably noticed that those of you that are coming, that we're actually growing a little bit because of connections with UC Davis and the rehab program over there. So we're actually over 103 people that are, I would consider, active participants now because of these new people. Anyway, that's our enrollment. And just to give you a per section, that's the same thing. The 100 people, 45% are doing Zoom, and about a third of you are actually coming in. This is all those people where you're coming from with respect to your medical care. So not everybody is a UC Davis patient. That's not a criteria, but a lot of people are. That makes sense, since our two doctors are med-center docs. But I guess for some reason, a lot of Renaissance people have Kaiser. So we have a fair number of Kaiser people. So about not quite half the people come from Kaiser, not quite half come from the med center, and the rest come from other medical systems like Mercy and Sutter. And so the bottom line, this truly is a community program. It's not a med center program. It's not a Kaiser program. It's not a Sutter or a Mercy program. It's a community program. So anybody can come in here, and your diagnosis doesn't matter, and your health system status doesn't matter. But it does matter that you do have health care somewhere, though. Okay, so it's homeless people that go nowhere basically still have to get their doctor to agree for them to come here, and we don't really have any of them at the moment.
I'm confused, Linda, excuse me, but that last thing was well over 100%, over 150%. And so is that, we should just pay attention to the colors, and that's sort of the proportion, because you can't have 60% coming from Kaiser and
no, 60 people is 37%.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So the reason that we're here, so yes, we're a community program. We're serving the community. We're fulfilling the mission of the building super well by basically serving the community as we serve students. And that's why the college lets us be here. That's why they pay me to be a teacher, why they pay Rob to be in here, is because we're serving students. So it's evolved. So this is now a field placement for lots of students. So we have nutrition students, we have psychology students, we have a lot of gerontology students. My salary comes from this course called ID 201, which is a research kind of related thing. There's usually 4 to 6 students that are participating in that each semester. And those of you that were around last semester, we are now expanding and are doing this service learning for these other gerontology courses. Gero 101 is actually a fairly big course. There's usually 40, 50 people in that. So I can't see that one going beyond the Zoom world, at least for now. Gero 103 is a smaller class, so we will see some of those students in here this semester. The nursing students like to hang out in here because we fulfill a part of their curriculum that's called interprofessional experiences, because it's a combination of different disciplines. So it broadens their perspective in terms of kind of what's going on. And I've just listed some of the faculty members that we're doing these things with. So Teresa Abba is a gerontology professor. Donna Jensen, I should have put her down as well, is now the chair of gerontology. So those are professors that know and love us, and we know and love them, and we do stuff with them. In nursing, last semester, actually, it was Bronwyn Fields. This semester, it's going to be Tara Sharp. And in physical therapy, there's a really wonderful physical PT faculty named Dr. Lazaro, who many of you met last semester. And then Kim Roberts is over here a lot, and she's always got something going on, a different project. We have a great project coming up this semester that I'll tell you about in a second. And another psychology professor is named Casey Nifsend. And then we've had a lot of nutrition involvement too. Dr. Schultz is the one who sends over the community nutrition students, and Urvashi Mulasi is a wonderful nutrition professor who's in charge of the RD program actually for the students here. And she's done a lot of cooking demonstrations for us and taught us some great stuff about cooking with spices, etc. So those are just some of the names. But so there's a lot of students that have benefited from coming here, and the bulk of them are, I guess, nutrition students, or at least they were back 2 years ago. Maybe I should update this, but you just need to be mindful that that's an important part of what we do is serving these students, which is why in terms of the sustainability of this program, we serve the students, but that's actually asking a lot of you as the client, because the thing the students get out of being here is interacting with you. So that's, maybe it's not a free program because you don't have to pay any money, but you are going to help us out better if you can participate in the things that are going on with the students. And you don't have to. There's nothing that says you have to talk to a student, but there's going to be students in here. So they're hoping you'll talk to them, and you don't have to, but luckily some of you like it. So that's a good thing, because it's an important thing of what we do. Some of the projects that happened last semester, Jackie Gonzalez was a GERO student, and she did kind of a fun survey, and this is actually posted on the wall back there behind the armor garmenter about COVID and what kind of got out of that. Maria did a project with intergenerational storytelling. Some of you did this fall prevention program with the PT thing. That was the IPE, the interprofessional thing between the physical therapy and the nursing students. A lot of GERO 1 interactions. Those were kind of fun, and we're going to do that again this semester, I'm sure. Some of the students do these projects that basically have to do with collecting data. And again, this is sort of a win-win thing, because the students benefit from the data collection part of it, and we benefit from it because of the data collection, because the more data we can collect, and even though we're not publishing papers, we still want to be able to have the ability to say, hey, stuff happened, and people that came into our program did benefit because they got stronger, they got more fit, they got smarter, whatever might have happened. So we like to do as many of these outcome assessments as we can and keep track of stuff. And so when somebody asks you to do a 6-minute walk, hopefully you'll be okay with that, or whatever they might ask you. And the same for the nutrition questionnaires, etc. We did this music project, which we're getting to wrap up really soon. That's coming up. I did want to show, so this is a link to our webpage. Oops. That's interesting. So do you see this now? So this is our webpage, and it's always a work in progress, and Mary Lou hopefully is spitting that up. But I think I wanted to show you. So under here, under students, it says student projects. And if you go there, and you could download from here.
I'm not seeing your screen.
Is anybody else not seeing my screen?
We're seeing the student projects fall 2021, but nothing else.
I'm not seeing your screen.
New share. How about now?
Yes. Well, that's Maria's storytelling thing.
Yeah, this is Maria's storytelling report, basically, which is now posted on our webpage. So you could download that and read it, print it, send it to all your friends, whatever you wanted to do. I just wanted to show you where it was. So, and if you look at this link here under student projects, so that's her is at the very top. And there's many things that are posted here, which are basically projects that students have done. And during the height of the pandemic, it was kind of fun because a lot of students did little video clips of like, I love the bread baking one. This is so those are just fun little lessons on making a recipe. And those are all posted there, and there's some exercise sessions that are posted here. These were all student projects, and there's Tim showing us how to cut up jackfruit, I think.
What is the title of the web page?
It's Can you see it? It says cardiovascularwellnessprogram.org.
Yes, thank you.
Right. So this is our home page. And there's Gloria, my favorite picture of Gloria.
Mhm. Looks like she's saying Gloria.
Okay, now Tim, how do I go back to my slides? Say that again. New share. I'm learning so much here. Where was I though? Right here. Okay, so that's the web page. And like I said, it's always a work in progress. And stuff is posted there. And so the things that are coming up this semester, one, Amy is a Gero student who's our only second semester gerontology student this semester. And you're going to see really soon from her a survey that pertains to, are you doing mindfulness stuff? And she's kind of interested in tabulating that, I guess would be the best way to put it. There will be more nursing students in here. There will be 3 new gerontology students starting anytime. And we'll again have these interactions with the other gerontology classes. Hopefully we'll have some community nutrition students. And one of my hopes for the webpage is to get our recipes in better order because they're kind of a mess. And we should have some psychology students as well. The semester's off to just a weird start here with this 2 weeks of virtual stuff. So we're not seeing a lot of students yet, and we won't for a couple of weeks, but we will. And then the other project that's going to be a big project, which is where I'm going to be going after the people that aren't coming, is a project that we're going to be doing this semester in conjunction with both Kim and Teresa. So that would be both psychology and Gero students, and that has to do with use of technology. And those of you that are doing it, it'll be easy. And those of you that aren't doing it, it won't be so easy, but we're still kind of going to go after you. And you're not here listening in the room if you're not one of them, so you don't know what I'm talking about. But that is coming up in the next couple of weeks. You'll see it. And then Dr. Lopez, again, we're grateful for him, and his Prevention Forward is a clinic that he has over at UC Davis that kind of got waylaid by COVID as well. But he does expect that to kind of get back on the ground. And some of the participants that are coming to this program are coming from him and that program, which is basically more of those people that have risk factors and haven't had events yet, but they're just trying to see if clean living doesn't help them and get them to a better place. And the kinesiology project, I do not know about, but if you've noticed this front room here, which we're not using, has some rowing machines in it, which technically we've given to this kinesiology professor named Nat Brown, because he was going to do a Parkinson's project. And I've not heard from him in 2 years, so I don't know if he's still planning to come back or not. But in the meantime, his room is ready if he ever is.
Where is he a doctor?
He's a faculty member here in kinesiology.
Oh, a faculty member.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
And he has over in the Human Performance Lab a big Parkinson's testing setup, I know.
Oh,
And he had a grant and a big project he was going to get going and never got started. And then all of a sudden, we're not here anymore. So I don't know what he's doing.
so
So who has any other idea? What else do you guys want to do? I just want to share that that's the stuff that's coming up, and we're always grateful for your participation. So you will be asked to do surveys. You'll be asked to talk to students. And of course, it's all voluntary. You don't have to do it. You can be unavailable. That's totally an acceptable approach. There's nothing that says you have to do that. But the more of you that help out, the better off that is, and the more students we're going to be able to serve and basically be a better program and be more sustainable and have interest in the powers that be, these big schools that are willing to pay money for us to be here to keep doing that. And that's our dream, basically. So what kinds of comments or questions does anybody have?
Linda, about couple of years ago, well before COVID, we had a visit from a gentleman who was doing something with space allocation on the campus and said we would probably have to move. And no news is good news. I'm assuming that because of COVID and probably other reasons, we're still safe hopefully safe in our spot.
Yeah, that was probably Dr. Baldini, who's gone. He's actually moved on to another institution by now. And so there's a new dean, although there actually is not a real dean in HHS. It's still an interim dean. Mary McGuire, I think, is the acting dean. And the most recent reports are, so that's what's, I don't know if you've been in this building, you know, that the first and second floors, there's stuff and they look done. And the third floor is, you know, a wasteland with the exception of us. So this whole third floor is totally in development that got completely waylaid by COVID. And I think, at least the reports are, is that, you know, we probably are going to get to stay. Well, certainly there's no fast action on anything going on with the space going on here. So we stay as long as stuff's going on. But I think, again, because of all the stuff that's going on, we are a valued commodity. And so we might not get all of this space, but I don't think we're going to have to move. I really don't think we're going to have to move. At least that's the most recent rumor. So let's just keep our fingers crossed. We might have to give up, you know, the back section where all those extra classrooms are. Maybe not, who knows? But it's going to be a long time coming. It's not going to be in the next few years.
But it would be terrible publicity for a bunch of seniors, mature people, to be picketing outside Folsom Hall.
Oh, might be kind of fun. You'd
Oh,
like
I'm not
that,
saying
wouldn't
it
you?
wouldn't be fun for us. I'm saying the publicity for the university wouldn't be good.
Yeah. I think, you know, that's what's kind of fun about being over here is the general, and even the way we kind of evolved, because Dr. Baldini just, you know, never thought it would happen. Yeah, go ahead. It's empty space. Go use it. Oh, I have to pay you 10 grand. Oh, okay. Here it is. I mean, it's just, that's kind of amazing. Geza, you had a question.
Yeah, I was wondering how will the garden?
The garden? You mean the stuff I grow at home? Oh, no, we'd like to. We'd like to, but we don't.
Do you
Yeah.
hear the question again?
So she wanted to know if we had a garden. We grew some ginger in a that's maybe why you're thinking that. We did, that yellow pot had ginger growing in it.
Okay, so there's no.
What are those little mini citrus things, Linda?
Pardon?
The
kumquats?
mini kumquats.
Yeah.
Take some if you're there.
Yeah.
take
So
some.
we've always had a kind of a communal thing, and people that do have gardens typically, like Dave brought in lemons, they'll bring in things. Yeah. No, but Tim and I are scamming. We think we could maybe take over the patio out there.
I would be interested when you talk about what else you want.
Uh-huh.
That's something
Is helping this garden. Okay, good to know. Because it's, yeah, I like that. We have a lot of gardeners in our group. That kind of makes sense. And sadly, our best gardener is probably not going to be gardening much anymore, and that's Bob O'Connor. But Bob O'Connor always planted a huge garden, and every summer he would bring in bucket loads of squash and tomatoes and peppers and stuff. And his gardening days are kind of behind him. But yeah, it's fun. It is fun. It's very valuable. Anybody else have any ideas? Paul, what do you want to do?
I have a question.
Okay.
This Dr. Brown, what department is he in? I have an acquaintance who might be finding that.
We have lots of acquaintances that might like what he's doing.
So you
He's
don't
in-
call him?
I have an email out to him. I haven't heard from him yet.
So did you tell me what department he was in?
Kinesiology.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I don't even know if he's still here, but I assume he is. He's actually Canadian as well. Okay. Okay, so we need to tap into Mary Lou, because you weren't here last semester, but Mary Lou did a lot of fun stuff with hip flexibility. So we can expand on that, right, Mary Lou? Yeah. All any great ideas? All right. It's nice to see you.
Has
You know,
Mary Has Mary Lou done any of that hip flexibility on Zoom? So those of us that aren't coming in could check it out.
Yeah, we're actually going to post that on the student projects page, right? She did a nice handout on exercises for hip flexor flexibility, hip
Thank you.
flexor flexibility. That's a mouthful. Okay, any other comments or questions?
We have one more. How often is this meeting? How? Is anybody come in here?
Anybody can come in. So she's asking how open. Yes, anyone can come in here as long as their doctor says they can.
Okay, they do have.
Mhm. Correct.
That's the only one.
Right.
That's-
And also in this current world, they have to be vaccinated. Yeah. Okay, anything else? Well, thanks for joining me. All right, we'll see you. Dr. Lopez is coming tomorrow.
Thanks, Linda.
Thanks,
you.
Linda.
Nice to
Hopefully
see
see
you
you this
guys.
afternoon.
Okay, it'd be lovely.
I'm working on it. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.